Hello and welcome to the third part of the Twitter screencast, where we will finally have a look at Twitter applications for Mac and iPhone. This episode is brought to you in cooperation with Free-Mac-Software, a German website where you can find additional information about the shown Twitter clients, Twitter in general, and the Mac. I've picked for this episode, a couple of Twitter clients, and I tried to divide the users into two categories on the desktop, which is normal users on the one side and power and enterprise users on the other side. On the iPhone it's similar, although not completely similar. There I picked a couple of Twitter clients that I know people are using on the desktop as enterprise or power user, and I picked also the official Twitter application for iPhone, as well as another secret application where other people usually say Boxcar, and I intentionally left out Boxcar because I figured everybody already knows about Boxcar, so I tried to find an alternative, which is also pretty cool. I hope you enjoy this screencast. Bye. I'd like to begin this Twitter client comparison with a Twitter client named HealthWhittaker. This is a very minimalistic looking Twitter client. It implements almost all the features from the website. There's also an iPad version available, which is not free, I suppose. It gets a 7 out of 10 in our rating. And I must say, this is a very, very cool client. If you're looking for a free client, give it a shot. So if you'd like to compare Twitter clients, the first thing we need to have a look at is whether the client implements all of Twitter's website features without calling the website. These features are mentions, direct messages, or favorites. Now, what is also pretty nifty is when a client is able to unfavorite or favorite a tweet directly from within the application. So now let's switch back to home. It's also pretty great if a client displays all those features directly next to each tweet. So in this case, let's say we want to direct reply S1MN here. So a new window appears and we can tweet our tweet. We can also send him a direct message, which also opens a new window. And we can also unfavorite or retweet this tweet. Here you see that HealthWhittaker is able to send old and new style retweets. If I select new style retweets, the character count disappears at the bottom right of this window. By the way, old style retweets are often called quoted or commented retweets because they allow us to put a comment or a quote in front of our retweet before sending it. Other nice to have features are, let me just close down this window and open up a new one, are geotagging, URL shrinking with the mentioned URL shortening services like Bitly and the like, as well as picture uploading capabilities for TweetPic, for TweetPhoto, or the other services. What's also pretty nice is when a client allows directly from within the application to look up a profile. For instance, let's see what this user's profile is. You see this person's name is Simon Wolf. He doesn't follow me. You see his website, where he's coming from. You see his followers and following counts and his recent tweets, as well as the ability to unfollow or follow a certain person. Now, as we just speak of profiles, it's also pretty nice if a client is able to edit or display your own profile as well. And let's have a look at the Twitter search in this application. It's nice to get all the tweets from a certain person, in this case from myself. You have to keep an eye open whether the application is able to allow full access to the whole Twitter search. This is from to within a certain area, all the things I mentioned in the first Twitter screencast. Now, last but not least, it's also a plus point when a client is able to manage multiple accounts as well. Let me just cancel this dialog, we can also just simply go to edit accounts. Right from this window we can also edit new accounts as well. Now all the clients you want to compare need to implement these features in one way or another, and you have to decide whether you like how the features are implemented or not. Now the next client I'd like to show you is called YahooFuker. This is a new client, it seems, and even though I'm usually preferring or favoring Nambu, I think this client has some really awesome features. Now compared to other clients, you see that it implements almost all the features you want to have from a Twitter client. Some are missing, like multi-user support, but the search features in YahooFuker are just awesome. Now if you have a look at YahooFuker's main window, you see a blue circle below each tweet. This says that this or these tweets are in red already. Now if we click on mark as read, you see the blue circle disappear. Now if we click on a tweet, you see the conversation is highlighted in YahooFuker's main window display. This Twitter client also offers other viewing options like this conversation view, where we exclusively see these two people's conversation. We can switch back to the normal display as well. If we click on the second bubble here, you see only tweets or retweets from this particular person. This is almost the same as we would look up this person's user profile. If you have a look at the preferences, you see here a lot of changes compared to other clients. This client has a lot of features already built in, like changing the preferred image service from TweetDeck to YahooFuker, for instance. We can also set up growl notifications, custom sounds, as well as a lot of other features as well. Now if we go back to YahooFuker's main window, you see that mentions, direct messages and favorites are implemented similar to HealthWhittaker. The difference though is the search. We can easily search for a term right from within the search tab, and if we hit return, the search results are displayed. Now the thing is, if we click on this little eye, we can open the so-called tab configuration. From here we can add new tabs like filter tabs, Twitter search tabs, or Twitter list tabs. Now I'll stick with Twitter list tabs. Here I enter the list we already know, the real life tweets, click create, and now YahooFuker downloads my Twitter lists from Twitter. I click select, and then I got a few other options as well, like I could just disable the unread management just for this tab only, and to be sure I click on apply and then OK, and you see a new tab is created where this list is, well, listed. Now let me just quickly go back to the custom tabs to show you another feature. We can also simply create a filter tab, test filter for instance, click create. Here we can search for user IDs separated by commas, for keywords, or even regular expressions, which is a very advanced feature. Now under options you see the same options as for the Twitter lists, as well as some other options. YahooFuker is more like a Twitter client for advanced users because of the regular expressions, for instance, but I found it's also a pretty neat application for single users or for people who have only one Twitter account. I really can recommend this client. Now to round up this desktop client section, I will show you one of my favorite Twitter clients, Tweetdeck. Tweetdeck is, you know, I'm not really the person who is using Twitter like many other users do. I have about 8 or 7 Twitter accounts, therefore I'm looking for like power user features like quoted and native tweets. I look for conversation views, built-in image previews, a lot of custom URL options, and I don't care much about the look, I have to say. Tweetdeck is one of those applications or Twitter clients who are used in sort of enterprise environment where people, or not just only people, where real companies try to communicate with their users in person, which is not a bad thing in general. You see here the display is different from the other applications in the column view, and on the top we have our columns named. We can create new columns by pressing this button. A new window pops up, and we are able to add Tweetdeck searches as well as our Twitter searches. Tweetdeck